Welcome to Perfectly Imperfect Me 365, the podcast where we get real about mental health, messy growth, and being human one day at a time. I'm your host, Rachel, and together we're navigating life's chaos with honesty, compassion, and a little humor. Let's get into it. And welcome back to the channel with me, Rachel. There's a question I want to start with today. And I don't want you to go ahead and answer this quickly. I actually want you to sit with it for a bit. And I really, maybe write it down on a piece of paper, but I want you to ask yourself this. Would you ever talk to your best friend the way that you talk to yourself? Would you ever talk to your child, your partner, a person that you cared a lot about, somebody that you admired, somebody that you were cheering for, the way that you speak to yourself? For many people, that answer is no. And for years, I thought being hard on myself was just part of being motivated. I believe that if I criticize myself enough, especially about my body, I'd finally change. The problem is that all it ever did was leave me bruised. Because beating yourself up doesn't actually build character. It just leaves marks that you learn to hide. Now, as a therapist, I actually see this pattern constantly. And as a mother, I think about what my kids absorb by just watching me exist in my own body. And as a woman, I know this pattern intimately. For decades of my life, I literally treated my body like it was the problem that needed to be solved. I picked it apart quietly, in the mirrors, in dressing rooms, in photos. I blamed it for my lack of confidence. I told myself it's the reason I didn't feel good enough, attractive enough, or even worthy enough. And I believed that if I talked to myself harshly enough, something would finally change. But instead of changing, I started disliking parts of myself I had to live in every single day. And that's the part no one warns you about. Self-blame doesn't motivate growth. It actually makes you turn against yourself. It's kind of like living with a heckler in your head, not someone who shows up once in a while, someone who follows you everywhere. And they're screaming, "You're failing. You look terrible. Why can't you get it together? Don't eat that. Be smaller." No one thrives with a heckler in their head. And eventually, your confidence doesn't disappear all at once. It erodes slowly, quietly, like water wearing down that stone. And from a brain perspective, this matters more than we actually can realize, because your brain cannot tell the difference between somebody attacking you from the outside and you attacking yourself from the inside. So if someone stood in front of you yelling insults to you, your body would react immediately. Your nervous system would literally brace. Your muscles would tighten. You wouldn't feel inspired. You'd probably feel very threatened. And then we do that to ourselves internally. The brain responds the same way. Beating yourself up doesn't push you forward. It knocks the wind out of you. And then we're sitting there wondering why we feel stuck. So many people believe that self-criticism is what creates change, that if we push harder, we shame ourselves more, we demand perfection, something will finally shift. But research and lived experiences tell us the complete opposite. Self-criticism is not a coach. It's a weight vest. You're trying to climb the hills of life, parenting, working, relationships, healing, while carrying extra weight made entirely of just shame and blame. And then you ask yourself, why is this so hard for me? Well, because you're carrying weight you were never meant to carry. Because blaming yourself while trying to change is like pressing the gas pedal and slamming the brakes at the same time. You're burning energy, you're not moving forward, and then you blame yourself for being stuck. That's not laziness. That is just pure biology. Your nervous system is in threat mode. It is not in growth mode. And shame does not push you forward. Shame shrinks your world. It makes you smaller. You stop wearing the clothes that you like. You actually stop speaking up. You stop being fully seen. Not because you don't want to live boldly, but because it feels safer to stay small than to risk more bruises. But here's the truth that changed everything for me, both personally and professionally. There is no evidence, none, that self-hatred leads to long-term change. Beating yourself up doesn't teach your brain what to do differently. It just teaches us that it's not safe. It's like punching your own leg and then wondering why you can't walk forward. Of course you can't. You're injured. And this is where DBT comes in. Not to tell you to just love yourself overnight, but to stop the internal violence. The first skill that I always talk about is observing without judgment. Instead of saying, I hate my body, it's disgusting, maybe try, I'm noticing the thought that I'm judging my body right now. That shift matters. You are not the thought. You are the person that's hearing the thought. And observing without judgment is like setting that weapon down. You don't have to keep hitting yourself just because the thought shows up. And another DBT concept that I come back to pretty much all the time is effectiveness. Ask yourself, is talking to myself this way helping me become who I want to be? Chances are, no. It's not true. It's not, do I deserve it? But is this helping or is it just hurting? Because beating yourself up only leaves you bruised. It does not guide you. It doesn't heal you. It doesn't move you forward. And here's something important. Self-compassion is not letting yourself off the hook. It's like physical therapy for a nervous system that's been hurt. You don't yell at a bruised muscle and demand it heal faster. You support it. We rest, we lay down, we maybe use those blow up things that squeeze your legs. You strengthen it gently. And slowly, the movement returns. Your brain does not change under attack. It changes in safety. Safety is what allows us to learn. Safety is what allows risk. Safety is what allows growth. And you cannot create safety in your own mind while you are constantly tearing yourself down. Now, I am still learning this. I still catch myself mid-thought. I still notice when I'm slipping into old patterns, especially around my body. But now, instead of swinging that hammer and validating that belief, I take a pause. Because you cannot hate yourself into becoming someone that you love. You can only support yourself there. So I'm working on being nicer to myself. Not perfect, not all the time, but I'm doing it intentionally. And I hope that you work on being nicer to you too. Because healing doesn't happen in a war zone. It happens in a place where it finally feels safe to rest, learn, and try again. And you deserve that safety, especially for yourself. I am Rachel, licensed psychotherapist. Thank you for joining me on Perfectly Imperfect Me 365. Watch out for more episodes. Remember, like, share, subscribe, rate. I really appreciate you. Have a great day.